talk to Maram. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, sure.
And congratulations on Weather Knows. That's so exciting.
Thank you. I have a copy here if anybody wants to see what it
Yeah, let
looks
me see. So cool. So tell us about this book. What inspired you to write this book? How long did it take to write? What's it about?
like. This is a children's steampunk book, and I wrote it years ago when I was in college and only recently decided to polish it and publish it, share it with the world. It takes place in a steampunk universe called the Cerulean universe, and it's about a old-fashioned weatherman who wakes up one day to find that his career is being sabotaged because a 10-year-old girl has invented a machine that can predict the weather. So, to get his life back, he goes on this vendetta to destroy her and her machine, but he finds out that she's way smarter than him.
Wow, that's awesome. Gosh, I could use a weather machine. That would be nice to know, wouldn't it? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Well, it's
like,
called.
oh, sorry, you froze a little. Sorry, say that again. I couldn't hear you. Say that last thing
Yeah,
again.
no, I was saying it's called the Weather Channel these days.
Yeah, I know, but come on. I mean, I don't know. It's not always so reliable. Um,
We don't have a steampunk version of that.
no, exactly. So how did you come up with the idea for this book? And you were in college? That's insane. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was bored in the summer and I just saw this character on his island with his pet crow, and this is the lead character, Tart Morning. And I got curious. I wanted to see what he was all about, and this world had already been kind of building in my head for years. So, and I hadn't had a story to go with it. Like I didn't know where to start with it. So when I saw this character, I was like, oh, okay, so maybe this is it. And I followed him around, and the story happened. Here we are.
Wow. And so, in addition to Weather Knows, you're also a screenwriter and filmmaker. So tell me about that part of your life also,
Yeah, I
please.
wrote two short films and directed them. They both went to the Cannes Short Film Corner. My the first one was my thesis film for grad school, and the second one was a short film that I created. The character was based on my older brother, who's a special needs kid, and so the story of that film was about a mentally challenged young man who accidentally gets separated from his sister on the New York subway, and
Oh,
he gets lost in New York City and has to find his way home alone for the first time in his life.
that sounds terrifying.
It is. It is. It was such an emotional story for me to. Thankfully, this has never happened. Um, but it was a fear of mine. It has always been a fear of mine, and I decided to explore. I decided to explore it because I was curious to know or to kind of speculate on how he would react or how he would handle that. And of course, it was a deeply emotional process for me to create it. I was crying all the time on set.
Oh, my gosh. And where can we watch that? Like, where is
um,
it? Is it? Yeah, how do we watch it?
it's we've been submitting it to film festivals, so we haven't made it public. I would
So we
definitely
don't.
no, I would definitely announce it once it becomes available on Vimeo or any other platform.
Wow. And I did see on your website how you support. I was wondering why I thought there might be a family connection to special needs because I saw you support special needs
Yeah.
charities and you're a
Yeah.
big advocate for special needs. Tell me how that affects your work, not just in film, but in everything you're doing.
I recently wrote, or not wrote, but adapted a Spanish film called Campeones, which is about a basketball coach who, instead of being, prosecuted for drunk driving, his sentence is to train a team of young men who are mentally challenged as a community service. And the film is just about him adapting to it, and it's actually a hilarious film. I loved it. It had a lighthearted tone, and um, I like that about there are certain shows like now on Netflix, for example, that portray people who are atypical or who have certain needs, um, in a lighthearted way instead of like, tragic and like they have difficult
Hmm.
lives. Oh my God. Um, so yeah, so I adapted that film to Arabic, because the producer wanted to create. He bought the rights to create a Saudi version of that for
Wow.
Saudi. Yeah.
And you grew up in Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
now you live in Canada. You're
Yes.
all over the place.
I'm all over the place. I
So
can't stay put.
how do you think you're growing up there? I mean, sometimes I hate questions like this. People are like, "What's it like growing up in New York?" I'm like, I don't know. I never lived anywhere else. But what do you think, if you have a sense of what growing up in Saudi Arabia did for your sort of point of view of the rest of the world?
Well, it's always, as a writer, it's always been a struggle for me because I felt like I was caught between two worlds, the East and the West, and I didn't know where I stood. And um, I was always trying to write things that were just to kind of escape this predicament that I felt I was in. I always wrote worlds that were not here or there or anywhere else. It was just like my own world, and I'm making up my own rules, right? So I don't have to face it. But I think that I've come to terms with it recently. My recent work is not published yet, but I recently finished a fantasy novel that kind of starts out in Saudi Arabia, but then goes all over the universe. So I finally allowed my background to, like, the truth of it to come out. And I allowed myself to start playing with it as opposed to denying it or feeling stuck in the middle. I just played with all the elements that I was given, and it was such a wondrous process.
Wow. That's so great. This is
Yeah.
like my day of like talented young women. I'm like like everybody is just accomplishing so much and from such a
You're,
unique point of view. Really, really awesome and inspiring. I'm literally like sitting here thinking, wow, I'm just gonna like in 10 years I'll run into you at like some event. I'll be like, remember that Instagram Live? And you'll be like accepting an Academy Award. And anyway, it's just very cool. It's really, really neat. So anyway, well, thank you for coming on today. I'm excited about Weather Nose and all of the things coming up, and I really would love to watch that movie. So if it goes, I'll just keep me on your mailing list for when that comes out
of
because
course,
I would love to watch it. Okay.
absolutely. Thank you for having me today, Zibby.
Thanks for coming on.
Nice talking to you. All right,
Bye.
bye.